Just want to find a comfortable seated position on your mat. So you can sit cross-legged, you can have the legs out long, or in butterfly, or in straddle. So just press play on the music now. Don't worry if you haven't done so, or if you've done it already. And just finding that comfortable seat, taking the backs of the hands into the knees so the palms are open towards the ceiling. Closing down the eyes. Closing the lips. And just softening the face. Relaxing the jaw. Relaxing the tongue in the mouth. Relaxing the shoulders. Staying long through the crown of the head. And rooting down through the sitting bones. Just feeling your space on the mat. Taking some time to arrive. And just leaving behind the day. So trying to be present. Trying to stay with the here and the now. On the next inhale, gently breathe in through the nose. On the exhale, emptying the body of all the breath, so drawing the belly button in, the muscles in, squeezing those last drops of air out. And then just allowing the breath to come in and out of the nose. Inhaling, filling the belly. And then exhaling, emptying. Taking a few moments to get used to that breath coming in and out of the nostrils. And feeling the breath a little deeper in the body, so all the way down to the base of the belly. Still relaxing the shoulders. Relaxing the fingers. And just concentrating on that breath. Don't worry if it goes a little bit silent this evening. It's not your connection, it's just me giving you a little bit of space, a little bit of time, a little bit of silence. And then take this last minute just to see how you're feeling. Here and now. How is the mind? Is it busy or is it still? How is the body? Know that there's no good or bad or right or wrong. It's just individual to you right now. So you can keep the eyes closed if you wish throughout the whole of practice. So if you need them to flutter open, keeping that gaze nice and low. You're going to take the hands out in front of you so you can come into a tabletop, so uncrossing the legs. Just moving nice and slow and just imagining that the body is moving through honey this evening, so it's nice and slow, nice and sticky. The knees are underneath the hips, the shoulders are over the wrists. And we do a couple of gentle cat-cows, so inhaling, dropping the belly, lifting the center of the chest, pressing the floor away, shining the face up. And then exhaling as we tuck the tailbone, draw the belly in, again moving through that honey as you press the floor, spread the shoulders. 2 more times, really undulating through the spine, so moving bone by bone. The weights over the wrists, over the palms, gazing up. Exhaling. Curving, gently pushing the floor away and trying to move as slowly as you can. Inhaling, lifting the bottom, lifting the chest, Trying to fill the breath with the movement. Exhaling, cat spine. Take some time to spread the shoulders, to feel into that space between the shoulders. Again, see how it feels. Is it tight? Is it open? Then release back to tabletop. Coming into a nice early pigeon this evening, we're going to bring the right knee up towards the right wrist and then take the ankle to the left wrist. So don't worry if it doesn't get there. It's just the way it's going. Checking that the shin, the calf muscle is in front of the pelvis. And then begin to walk yourself back. So we're going to stay up on the hands for now. We're really working on squaring the hips off, either closing the eyes or keeping that gaze nice and low. So if this is uncomfortable for your knee for any reason, then you can do this on your back, a reverse pigeon. That's just when you have that ankle crossed over the knee. Glute stretch. Relaxing the shoulders. Again, checking in with that face. Relaxing the cheeks, the eyes, the forehead. Maybe flexing the right foot just a little bit. And making sure that weight is going down the center line of the body. So using the belly button as that center line. The hips in balance. If you need to prop your blocks underneath the bottom, you can. And we'll just take a few more moments here. Just being sure that this evening we are listening to the body, doing what's right here and now. Either staying here on the hands or moving your way down onto the forearms. Being careful not to sit onto the glute, onto the bottom. The head still stays nice and heavy. Coming back to that breath, so that inhale through the nose. And the exhale through the nose. Trying to breathe that full breath. So into the belly, the side of the body, the back of the body. Exhaling through the nose. Just trying to stay with that breath when you want to wander. And breathing through that resistance. Breathing through that urge to move, to fidget. Come away from the posture. Either staying here or going for our sleeping swan. So reaching the right arm away. The left hand threads through the hole as the shoulder. The side of the face, the left side finds the floor or maybe your block. And we just get a little bit deeper into that lower back, the glutes. Again, remember this is just an option. You can still be up there on your hands and get as much from the posture as you would do coming down here. Still keeping those hips nice and square. We'll take another 4 breaths. So knowing that the end is near. Maybe you can relax a little bit deeper into it. And as we begin to move, slowly coming up through the forearms if you're there in sleeping swan, and then onto the hands, returning to that notion of moving through honey, so taking your time. We're going to meet back in tabletop. So bringing the left knee forward as you take the right knee back to be in line with the hip. We'll take an inhale, lift the chest and gentle cat-cows again. Shining the chest up towards the ceiling. Then exhaling, tucking tailbone. Drawing the belly, spreading the shoulders. pressing the tops of the feet into the floor. Inhale, cow. So rippling through the spine. Shining the face, the chest up. And then exhaling, tucking the tailbone, cow. Good. Last time, inhaling, rippling, snaking, flowing through that spine. And exhaling. So really giving yourself permission this evening to move slowly. Coming back to tabletop, we'll go pigeon on the left side. So bringing that left knee to the left wrist, the ankle to the right wrist in front of the pelvis. Walking yourself back as far as feels comfortable. And again, staying here on the hands. You need a pillow or a block underneath the left glute, the bottom. You can prop it up. Relax the shoulders. Maybe lift the chest just a little bit, but allow the head to be heavy. Spending these few moments here. Maybe checking in with that left glute, the hamstring, the lower back. Noticing if this is enough. If it is, stay here. If you need that little extra depth, then come down onto the forearms. This time dropping the head. The right hip traveling down towards the heel, towards the floor. Flexing the foot. Because we're doing pigeon for quite a few weeks now, see if this feels a little bit more comfortable than it did, say, 6 weeks ago. It's normal for a pigeon to never feel comfortable. So don't worry if you don't feel like you've progressed. I'm sure that progression is there, even if it's just a little bit. Relaxing the face, that option to stay here or to come to sleeping swan. This time the left arm reaches away. The right arm threads through the hole as we roll onto the shoulder, the side of the face. Closing those eyes. Really dropping the hips down to the floor. The left hip as well as the right hip. And checking in again with that resistance. Fighting that urge to move, to come out of the posture. Just finding that tiny bit of progressive overload, that deep stretch. 2 more breaths wherever you are. If you're in sleeping swan, slowly returning back to your forearms. Then if you're on your forearms, coming onto the palms, so just pressing the floor away. Take the knee back to tabletop. We'll do 3 more cat-cows, beginning to inhale. Lift the chest, keep the shoulders over the wrists. And then exhale. If you want to go a bit slower, a bit faster, feel free. Inhaling to lift a cow, having that sense of rippling through the spine, the head being the last thing to move. Then exhaling cat, drawing all the belly muscles in, pressing into the back, the shoulder blades. The last one, bottom goes up. Ripple, lift, gaze up. And then the biggest exhale you've done so far. Curving through the spine, pressing the floor, the index finger, the thumb into the mat. And then returning back to tabletop. We're going to come to a lizard, so if you need your blocks under your hand, make sure you have them close. But we're going to lift the right leg, step it next to the right hand. Keep it on the mat if you can. And then just walk that left knee as far back as you feel comfortable. We're going to stay on all four corners of the right foot, so the big toe, the baby toe, the heel. And like we did last week, instead of allowing that leg to just be floppy, to be inactive, we're going to try and draw the right knee in towards the right shoulder. Maybe that knee is touching the shoulder. Finding that active stretch, so engaging the muscles in the hip joint. Staying here on the hands for a few more moments. And you can stay here if you want to, or you can bend that back leg in so the heel comes to the bottom. The right arm goes up and over to either gaze and reach towards the leg, or if you can, grabbing hold of the foot, bringing the heel to the bottom, and then lifting the chest up. We're not going to be here for too long, I promise. If you need to pad out the knee, you can do by putting a blanket or folding the mat up. So we've just got 4 more breaths. Wherever you are, see if you can bring that left hip closer to the mat. And check that you're not rolling onto the outside blade of the right foot, so you're pressing that big toe down. 1 more breath. Slowly, without catapulting, letting go of the left leg. The right hand comes down, either staying here or see if you can come down onto the forearms. Maybe just one arm can come down. If that's the case, then prop up the right elbow either on a jumper, a blanket, or a block. And still work on pressing the big toe into the mat. Relaxing the head. And send those hips down to the floor. Just 3 more breaths here. Try and stay with the stretch. If you want to have a little wiggle in the hips, you can. If you're on the forearms, coming onto the palms. We're going to take that right knee all the way back to the left. Knees come nice and wide. Then the bottom comes to the heels for child's pose. Forehead into the floor. Relax the arms. Close the eyes if they've opened up. And take those breaths into the belly, into the back, into the side of the body. When you're ready, coming back to tabletop, do the same thing on the other side. So the hands are under the shoulders, knees start under the hips, and we go to left side. So the left foot comes to the outside of the left hand. Maybe the heel in line with the wrist. If you want to go a little bit deeper, taking that right knee further away from the hips. Remembering to hug the left knee into the left shoulder. You feel those muscles in the hip joint activate. Fingers spreading. Maybe you want to lift the chest, but keep the head nice and heavy. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Maybe you want to find that count, so 4 on the inhale, 5 on the exhale. Or if you're just happy swaying or bobbing to the music, then feel free. Remember, this is your time. The only thing that I do suggest is that you fight the urge to maybe check your phone or any other electrical device you have nearby. I know it can be very tempting when we're holding stretches for a long time. Remembering that thing that I said at the start of class, so trying to stay present in this moment of moving, of breathing, of caring for the body. also progressing the body. Either staying here or bending in the right leg this time, padding out the knee if you need to, and that left arm reaches up and over to reach towards the right foot. Maybe you can catch hold of it, bringing the heel to the bottom, lifting the chest, dropping the hips down. The eyes could be open or closed. I'm still trying to send that weight forward over that left foot. When we tend to come into deep stretches like this, we ease out of the stretch. We try and stay with it. Just 2 more breaths. That right shoulder still nice and relaxed, pressing the floor away. Gently letting go of the right leg. It falls to the floor. The left hand finds the mat, either staying here or descending down onto the forearms. Trying to hug that left knee in towards the shoulder still. Knowing that it's okay if the forearms feel a little bit too deep. It definitely does for me this evening. So finding what feels good in this moment. Maybe you start on your hands, and as you breathe, the body begins to open up. And maybe you can move to the forearms. Wherever you are, just check that you're breathing. You're not holding the breath or forcing anything. 2 more breaths wherever you are. You're on the forearms, coming onto the hands, taking that left knee back, knees nice and wide, maybe as wide as the mat. Bottom comes to the heels, reach the arms out, but then this time we're going to reach and walk the arms over to the left hand side. So that big rainbow down the right side of the body, releasing the forehead. Taking the bottom into the heels. Hopefully this will feel good for all of you, but in particular those guys who did the CrossFit workout on Monday, getting into those lats. To the bottom, really drawing towards the heels, the forehead still falling into the floor. Taking some deep breaths into that right side of the body, into the ribs, those intercostal muscles. And then walking the hands over to the other side. So just creating that big semicircle, that big rainbow. The bottom draw into the heels, the arms nice and long. So both elbows are extended. Fingers spreading into the floor. Maybe gripping the floor with the fingertips. Head is still nice and heavy, nice and relaxed. Taking 3 more breaths, so inhaling into that left side of the body. Feeling the stretch through the ribs, the lower back. And after that 3rd breath, coming back through center. When I come out onto the belly, so nice and slowly, just lifting and placing the belly down onto the floor. The arms come into cactus, so the elbows are in line with the shoulders. You're going to take the right side of the face into the floor. The left hand presses into the mat beside you as you lift the left leg up and over. So you can just stay long for now. We're stretching the right shoulder, the pec, the chest. So for those who need reference, the right elbow is in line with the right shoulder. The right hand in line with the elbow, so that L, that right angle. And if you want to go a bit deeper and get into the hips also, then you can bend the left leg Bringing the sole of the foot to the floor behind you as you press that floor away. Remember, that is just an option if you want to go a bit deeper. Check that you can still breathe. You're not holding your breath. You're not getting pins and needles. If you are, just ease away. We'll spend just a few more moments here. This can be quite a deep, quite an intense stretch. On your next exhale, just easing out of the pose. So lengthening both legs away. Turning to the left this time so the left side of the face comes down. The left elbow in line with the shoulder for cactus. The right hand pressing into the floor next to you. Lift the right leg. And then just slowly peel the right hip off of the floor. Lots of left and rights. Hopefully you will know them. Just as long as you've done the same thing on one side as you have the other. Or even just something similar. Checking the elbows in line with the shoulder. If you want to go a bit deeper, then bending the right knee, right sole of the foot, finding the floor. And just taking those deep breaths, maybe smiling. This one could be a little bit tough. Inhaling for your counts. 3 more breaths. Redrawing the left shoulder down into the mat, into the floor. After that third breath, peeling your way back onto your belly. Fingertips coming in line with the shoulders so you can press yourself back to child's pose. So remembering that notion of moving through honey, so you're not doing anything too quickly. Spending a moment here. And then we'll meet in downward facing dog, so coming out through tabletop. Tucking the toes, lifting the knees, sending the bottom back towards the back of the room. And then just having a few points to check in here. The feet are hip distance. The hands are shoulder distance. And they can be as far away from each other as you need them to be to get the spine long. So a lot of the time when I say downward facing dog in class, people try and bring their hands as close to their toes as possible, draw the heels down, and in a result you end up curving through the spine, so you miss out all the good parts of the posture. You have options to bend the knees, to rotate the armpits down to the floor, draw the belly button in and up. And then just take a little wiggle, so pedaling the dog. We're not going to stay here, it's just a little transition. It's always good just to check in with the mechanics of downward facing dog. Softening through the knees, both knees. Walk the hands back to the feet. Bending the knees as much as you need to come into a forward fold at the end of the mat. Release the head. Maybe the hands find the floor. Maybe the backs of the hands find the floor. We're just going to spend a little time here. Bring the weights into the balls of the feet. Just hanging, feeling heavy, letting go. Feeling those vertebrae as they fall away from each other. If you want to and it feels comfortable, you can take hold of opposite elbow and opposite hand, just making that weight a little heavier. But know that it's okay to have the hands on the floor or on some blocks. Really getting into the length of the hamstrings. If you do want to have a swing or a move, then feel free. Just make sure that everything's nice and heavy. Nice and slow. Still breathing in through the nose, out through the nose, halfway there on this one, so a little bit longer. Checking that weight is going into the ball of the foot. The knees are soft, the head is heavy. Again, fighting that resistance to fidget, to do any unnecessary movement. Staying present with the pose. Knowing that here you are stretching the belly of the hamstring, the calves, but also those muscles under the foot, as well as the muscles. You've got the fascia, the connective tissue that runs over the muscles between the skin. Really the most important part. And with this bend of the knee, you're stretching that also. 2 more breaths. And slowly bending the knees. Bring the hands into the floor so you can bring the bottom onto the mat. Taking the legs out in front of you. And then having them as wide as the mat. So not all the way out in straddle, not in staff pose, just wider than the hips. Feet are relaxed. Walk the hands forward. And then just allow the head to be heavy. If you need some blocks or pillows, you can prop them under the arms. Don't worry too much about flexing the foot or the feet. Just check that they're not rolling in. Still allowing that head to be heavy. Still working on the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Hinging forward. Maybe feeling the pulse, the heartbeat in the body. Feeling that life force. That prana, that energy. With each exhale, trying to empty the lungs all the way down to the bottom. Breathing the full breath. Three more times here. Maybe you can feel the body getting heavier, so maybe you come down a little lower, so releasing the head. Feeling that stretch into the lower back. If you need to bend the knees, you can. One more breath, taking it nice and slowly. At the exhale, begin to walk the hands back. Keep the eyes closed, the head heavy. Adho Konasana, but we're going to take it nice and wide. So the soles of the feet come together. The heels are quite far away from the pelvis. Normally we bring them all the way up towards the pubic bone, but they're quite far away, but the knees are still bent. Here again, we're just going to fold forward, so don't worry too much about keeping the spine long, just worry about sending that weight forward over the legs. Maybe elbows come in front of the shins. If it's more comfortable to have them behind, then that's fine. We're not forcing anything here, maybe just having the thumbs on the arches of the foot, of the feet, just peeling them open. Maybe pressing thumb into that soft part just under the big toe joint, that acupressure point. Feel the head heavy. Just that gentle pressure. Allow the head to get heavier. Maybe the knees fall closer to the floor. Coming back to the breath. Whenever the mind begins to wander, if you're pressing the thumbs into that acupressure point, very slowly release the pressure. Releasing the thumbs. Begin to roll yourself up through the body. Your eyes remain closed. We're going to come into a supported fish. So the legs go out long. We're going to sit on the palms of the hands. So the palms go down towards into the mat. And you're sitting on the backs of the hands. Point the toes. Come down onto the forearms, the elbows. Press the elbows into the floor as you lift the chest up towards the ceiling, dropping the head back. If it feels uncomfortable to drop the head back, that's fine. You can keep gazing down towards the belly button. But if you can, really pressing the elbows into the floor, squeezing them into the center line of the body. Slight engagement of the abdominals, so drawing the belly in. Spend 2 more breaths here, opening through the front of the body after doing all that forward folding. It may feel weird, it may feel different, there may be a little bit of resistance. That's okay. 1 more breath. And then slowly the head finds the floor. Release the elbows, release the hands. Drawing the right leg towards the chest. Interlace the fingers, taking the knee just under into our compression pose. So the right knee to the right shoulder. The left leg can be relaxed. Compressing the hip joints. Compressing the lower abdomen. The knee, the knuckles. Again, if you want to find those acupressure points just behind the knuckles, you can press the fingertips into that soft space. The right knee towards the right shoulder. 1 more breath here, just feeling that warmth in the hip, that warmth in the knee. Take the right leg, guide it across the body into a spinal twist. The right knee finds the floor next to you, maybe on a block or a pillow. Lengthen the right arm away, the eyes closed. Taking the left hand onto the knee just to offer a little bit of weight, no pressure. See if you can get the tip of the right ear to touch the mat so you get that full twist from the crown of the head all the way down to the tailbone. Breathing deeply into that lower back. Into that space between the ribs and the pelvis, so that belly. Breathing into the chest. Spinal twists are one of the best things we can do for the body. We never tend to do them unless they're given to us in a class. So if there's just one thing you can weave into your day, just add this spinal twist maybe just before you go to bed. Slowly drawing the knee into the chest so you can roll onto the back. We'll come into our reverse pigeon, so bending the left leg so the sole of the foot finds the floor. Right ankle crosses over the left knee, flexing the foot. So you can stay here if you want to, or you can peel the left foot off. The right hand goes through the hole, the left meets it on the other side, interlacing the fingers. Drawing the knee towards the chest as you press the right knee away. Those two opposing forces, the pull, the push. Maybe bending at the elbows so you work the biceps. Feeling this stretch deep into the glutes, but also that lower back. So trying not to allow the tailbone to peel off the mat, pressing it down into the floor. Just 2 more breaths. And then letting go of the fingers. The sole of the left foot finds the floor. Cross the knee all the way over the left leg so both knees are stacked. Arms back out into aeroplane wings or cactus. And then allow both knees to fall to the left as you turn the head to the right. If this is too much, then you can have both knees stacked. So just going back in the same direction we did with the other spinal twist. This is just a little bit deeper into the lower back. Into that QL muscle, that big muscle on the lower back, the side of the body. Taking 2 more breaths. And then whichever way you find comfortable, just pressing off that left side, coming back to center, lengthening the right leg as you draw the left leg in, so everything on the other side. Interlacing the fingers, bringing that knee to the chest, towards the shoulder. The elbows into the rib cage, the chin down into the chest. Maybe pressing the fingertips into that space behind the knuckles. All these little secret acupressure points. So trying to lengthen through the spine. When you're ready, we'll come to our first twist. So that left knee goes across the body, down to the right. Lengthen the left arm away if that feels comfortable. Placing the hand, the right hand, onto the left leg as that little bit of pressure. Trying to take the top of the left ear into the floor so you get that full twist. Noticing any differences from this side to the other. As always, it's okay to have one side more open or more strong than the other. There's no need to correct it or force it. Just acknowledge it. Doing that twist as it moves from the tailbone all the way through the spine up to the crown of the head. Three more breaths. So taking your time. And still moving through that honey, bringing the knee into the chest so you can roll onto the back. Bending the left leg so the sole of the foot finds the floor. Left ankle over right knee, reverse pigeon. Flexing the foot, either staying here, pressing the left leg away, or bringing the right knee into the body. The left hand goes through the hole, the right meets it on the other side. Drawing the knee in, the chin down, the tailbone, the lower back, into the floor. Soft bend through the elbows. Getting deep into that glute, the outside of the hip. Still breathing in through the nose, out through the nose. Coming into our twist on the other side. So releasing the fingers. Sole of the foot finds the floor. Left knee crosses over the right. Arms go out nice and wide. And then allow both knees to fall to the right as you turn the head to the left. Remember, if this is too much, you can stack the knees. Just getting that bit deeper. A little bit further. But know that you still get the same benefits if you haven't got the cross in the legs. 4 more breaths here. Nice and slowly coming back through center, so pressing off that right side. Uncrossing the leg, happy baby, so the knees go out nice and wide. Taking the outside arches at the feet, shining the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling. And either working on drawing the knees either side of the body or taking that little rock from side to side. Massaging the spine, the lower back. You draw the shoulder blades down, the upper back. You can stay here as long as you need to, but we are going to be moving towards Shavasana. So if there's anything you need to do, like turn the lights off, or pop a blanket over you, or some socks on, then feel free. If you're just enjoying your happy baby, then you can stay a little longer. But as you move into your Shavasana, know that any position is good, any position is welcome. But our original Shavasana is having the legs nice and wide, the heels as wide as the mat, so the toes go out. And just for now, have the arms alongside the body. If you want to lie on the side instead you can. If you want to pop a blanket underneath the knees as well, you can. If you haven't done so already, closing down the eyes. Placing the hands onto the chest this evening to begin with. Just feeling the breath as it rises in the chest. Maybe in the collarbone. Feeling that chest move up and down. It may just be a minute movement. And then moving the hands just below the chest, so onto the rib cage. Maybe the fingers meet in that little hole between the ribs. And just breathe into the space here. So that may mean breathing into the side of the body. Spreading through the rib cage. Feeling the back of the body pressing into the mat. And then feel it retract as you exhale. Really inhaling into that space in the rib cage. When you're ready, move the hands down to the hips. So as if you put your hands on your hips, the thumbs going behind. And try and breathe into the side of the body. Into that space between the thumb and the index finger. Full round breath. Don't worry if you go a little lightheaded. This means you're taking on a little bit more oxygen than you're used to. And then when you're ready, move the hands down to the belly, so the belly button. Maybe a little bit lower. Inhaling into the hands. Feeling that rise and fall. The belly ballooning on the inhale. And falling on the exhale. And when you're ready, we'll move on to our 3-part yogic breath. So moving the left hand onto the chest, the right hand onto the belly. Begin to breathe into the right hand, filling the belly. Feeling that air as it travels up to the chest, to the left hand. And as you exhale, feel the left hand fall, the right hand fall. So inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. So that rippling up and down. So we inhale, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale, chest, ribs, belly. Just moving through that 3-part breath in your own time. Feeling the ripple of air, the ripple of energy as it moves up and down the body, in and out. Breathing the whole breath. With that sense of nourishing on the inhale and cleansing on the exhale. If you want to stay with this breath, then feel free. If not, just releasing the hands, taking the palms open beside the body. Just allowing all the sensations of clasp to wash over the body. A sense of healing, body and mind, through movement and breath. Like we did at the beginning of class. See how you're feeling in the mind, in the muscles. Just feeling that wave of calm as it makes its way up through the body. So relaxing the soles of the feet, the ankles, releasing the calves, the knees, the kneecaps, and softening the thighs, relaxing the hips, the glutes, the hamstrings, Feeling that belly as it slowly rises and falls with all that space it has to move. Relax through the chest, shoulders, the arms heavy. Relax the throat, cheeks, the jaw, the tongue, maybe the lips open. Relax the eyes, the eyelids, the brow, the forehead, the whole face smooth, falling into the mat. Just giving yourself to gravity, giving yourself to the earth, to your practice. Take one big inhale through the nose. And sigh it out to the mouth. Again, inhale. Exhale, sigh it out. The last time, inhaling, filling the body. Exhaling, letting it go. Keeping those eyes closed. If you're ready to do so, just bring a little bit of movement back to the toes. And then the fingers. And very, very slowly, take a shuffle to the left so you can roll onto the right side of the body. Eyes remaining closed if you can. Pausing here. So allowing the heart rate, the blood pressure to return back to normal. Come back to the room. And gently pressing the floor away. The eyes remaining closed. Coming into a comfortable seated position. Taking the backs of the hands onto the knees where we began, the palms open. Sitting tall through the crown of the head. Feeling the length of the spine and those sitting bones as they plant into the mat. And just taking this moment to worry less and to appreciate more. The hands together in front of the heart, rubbing them just a little bit to find that bit of heat. Placing the hands over the face, over the eyes. Allowing the eyes to slowly open. Bringing the hands to prayer. Namaste. Thank you very much.